March 9, 2011. My husband, 2 children, ages 2 years old and 5 weeks old, and myself were driving down back roads to Walmart. My husband swerved and lost control of the car and we smashed into a tree. I remember my brain slowing the whole incident down. I was in the back seat, in the middle of my children of the Ford Expedition. I was not buckled in. I looked over at my son to the right who was crying, then looked to my left and saw my 2-year daughter looking frightened and confused. I saw us sliding towards a tree on her side. I just remember panicking and jumping towards her to shield her. It was more of a reaction or mother instinct. My legs ended up lodging under the seat, being twisted backwards and shattering both femur bones. The front driver's seat broke, coming back and crushing me. It shattering my right arm, broke 5 to 9 ribs, broke my cheekbones, nose, and jaw. My lungs collapsed, allowing fluid to build up on the inner and outer lining. Fluid also built up in the right frontal lobe of my brain. My forehead was diagonally split from my eyelid and past my hairline, resulting in my eyebrow being in my hairline and my skull exposed. I was instantly knocked unconscious. I came to for a moment when someone in a white shirt was holding me up. Today firefighters and EMS claimed there was nobody holding me up. Yet the man introduced himself and even went to my husband's funeral. He said he was a doctor and gave people his number. Then he disappeared. Even his contact number disappeared out of everyone's phone. I have no way of contacting or knowing who this man was. Firefighters were running at me. The door was forced ajar and I was hanging head first, over top of my daughter and out of the door. I was bleeding profusely and unconscious. I tried to look back in the car but can't remember what I saw. All I knew is that I could not move and it freaked out. I fell unconscious again. I was in a coma for over a week. My experience began with me on the ground. I stood up and looked around. I was extremely confused. What I saw is so hard to describe. I had feelings of peace, calmness, pure love, and bliss all around me. What I saw was the most beautiful hue of a bright golden light all around me. The room, that was no kind of room, was a never-ending, soft hue of golden light with no walls. It was similar to a sunset in the clouds. It's so hard to explain. There was nothing around me. I remember feeling peaceful but still confused. I had my arms crossed and was walking around, trying to figure out where I was. Then, I heard a man's voice. I turned around and it was my husband smiling at me. At this moment, I did not know that he had been killed. He looked so happy and healthy. His hair was nicely cut, despite prior that day I was supposed to cut his hair but never got around to it. The confusing thing for me was that he had a long sleeve, gold shirt on. I remember thinking, he never dresses like that. I walked up to him and he put his arm around me. He walked me over and we sat down. I'm not sure what we sat on because there wasn't any type of furniture or buildings or anything around me. When he put his arm around me, I could feel his breath. He was alive, like you and me. He kept saying to me, "You gotta be strong. You are going to make it. You have to be strong for the kids." He continued, "I won't be here in body, but I'll always be here in spirit. You gotta be strong." At that moment, I didn't know I had even been in a wreck. So I kept replying over and over, "Chris, what are you talking about? Be strong for what?" He wouldn't tell me anything else except he kept repeating what he was saying. I then woke up in the hospital. I remember seeing my mom and asked, "Is this real?" She said, "Yes." I then asked, "Where are my babies?" She said, "They are okay. They were uninjured. Thanks to you jumping on your daughter, she didn't get hurt at all." I sighed in relief and then asked, "Where is Chris?" She shook her head and started crying. It dawned on me that he must have not made it. All I could say was, "No. He was just here with me." I can still feel his warmth and where he had just put his arm over my shoulder. I said again, "We were just sitting together." She said, "No, Anna, he died." I was in disbelief. That's the best I can describe my experience. It's hard to describe what I saw and felt. I know my experience was real. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I feel like that was God's way of pulling me through. Today, I realize that my time on earth was not done. I am here for my children and my family. I am here to spread the love and compassion in my heart, that has grown so strong since that day. I am here to help others through similar experiences, or even losing a loved one. I am reading your book, God and the Afterlife, and have your other book, Evidence of the Afterlife, on order. I know it's a bit backwards. When I found out about this foundation, I had to share my experience.